Did Arsenal get lucky against Crystal Palace, snatching a point with pretty much the last kick of the game? In this video, I'll be explaining whether or not Arsenal could have done more, where Arteta got things right, where he got them wrong, but also can Arsenal continue their recent unbeaten run? Strap yourself in as you won't want to miss this one. Let's get into the breakdown and analysis. Hello, I'm JC and welcome to my Arsenal versus Crystal Palace match report. The game ended 2-2. We did leave it, unfortunately, to the death before snatching a point. Was it deserved? Was it earned? Did we show character? Or were we lucky? Well, we'll be analysing all of it throughout this video, and we're starting with whether or not Arteta got the formation and starting lineup right. I'm sure there were areas that he did, but also other areas where he got things wrong and could have made changes. Formation-wise, I was a little bit surprised that he played with Smith Rowe and Odegaard in the central midfield position with Partey just behind. Pepe probably deserved a start, and with the likes of Zaha and Eze not being available, Arteta opted for a slightly more attacking lineup, which is very surprising considering how deep we played in the game. And I think that sort of stance was the reason we conceded the first goal. Gabriel was certainly very isolated, and had we been slightly further up the pitch, I think with the pace that we have in that back line, it could have been avoided. Second goal, on the other hand, that Crystal Palace scored, a little bit different. You know, he's kind of isolated the defender there, backing away, and he's absolutely fired the ball with so much pace and power. It's really asked a big question of Ramsdale. Some people even asking, could he have done better? Arsenal's goals, on the other hand, Aubameyang scoring nice and early. I'll get into his details in a later part of this video, likewise with Lacazette. But apart from what I mentioned with Odegaard and Smith Rowe, there wasn't really any other surprises in the sort of the shape of Arsenal, but it was more the tactics that surprised me. We played very, very deep after dominating in the first 15 minutes. Let's go through the rest of the Arsenal lineup. No surprises in goal. I would have been shocked if Leno had have started ahead of Ramsdale, and I don't think there would have been too much more Ramsdale could have done in this game. Constantly communicating with his back four. Just a shame that he's conceded his first 2 goals in one game. Tomiyasu, he hasn't really kind of changed too much from when he played against Brighton, where we know he struggled. I felt like he struggled in this game as well. He's still adapting to the Premier League. I think that adrenaline rush of signing for a new club has worn off, and it's now in that period where he has to show a little bit more consistency and adapt a little bit better to the league as well. Kieran Tierney is someone that I've mentioned in previous videos that we've had an over-reliance on in previous games, mostly last season. That's kind of faded away a bit because we've got a little bit more balance in the squad, but I think that's kind of hurt what we have down the left-hand side, and we saw glimpses of what he can offer. He hit the bar late in the second half, and I think we do need to utilise him a little bit more. Gabriel and Ben White had average games. There was an occasion in the game where Gabriel had a go at Thomas Partey, who had a game to forget. He lost the ball in a really, really awkward position, and he has been dubbed the guy that needs to be consistent this year. He could be the guy, the difference maker of whether we finish in the top 4 or we have a very, very average season. And to be fair to him, he hasn't had a consistent sort of 10-15 run of games in an Arsenal shirt since signing. So these kind of battles are the ones that will really, really help define who he is moving forward. Odegaard had a game to forget. He wasn't able to break down the defence, very, very similar to Brighton. He was brought in to break down these teams, and he has struggled in the last couple of games. Smith Rowe in a sort of similar category. He's still learning. There was an occasion in the game where he opted to shoot and he could have slipped Pepe in. And talking of Pepe, I was very surprised that he did start. I was expecting Smith Rowe to start out on the left, and had Martinelli been available from the beginning of the game, I mentioned in my preview that he was doubtful, I think Martinelli would have started. Saka, he had a really good game, and I think had he have stayed on in the second half, we would have had a very, very, very different game moving forward. He was showing glimpses of what he can offer. Unfortunately, he was injured due to a challenge that was viewed by VAR and nothing given. I think it was a little bit harsh. I think the referee should have gone and actually reviewed the incident. The ball had long gone when James MacArthur kicked him, and I think if there were other players with poorer reputations, it may have gone to VAR and then a sending off. Xhaka, for example, and he is someone that potentially Arsenal are missing at the moment. He did try to change things, Arteta that is, by bringing in Lokonga, Lacazette, who we'll speak about shortly, and it just didn't change the game. So let me know down in the comments below, what did Arteta get right, what did he get wrong, and are we missing Granit Xhaka? Before we get into this next section, if you have enjoyed today's video so far, drop a like and subscribe if you're new around here. There'll be plenty of this type of content on the channel in the next few weeks. Now, we didn't speak about Aubameyang or Lacazette in the last section, and it was difficult to pick 3 or 4 players like I normally do because it was such a frustrating game. Now, Aubameyang, I wanted to talk about him. The first 15 minutes of the game, Arsenal come flying out the blocks, and I really thought, given the type of side that Crystal Palace had picked and the attacking lineup that Arsenal had picked, someone like Aubameyang, who scored early doors, would really push on. That deep line and reserved play, I think it really did affect Aubameyang, and we only have to look at his stats. We were playing 1 or 2 passes max before going long, and if we do look at those stats, 1 key pass, 1 unsuccessful dribble, and only 1 shot in the entire game. It's a real shame because we didn't play to his strengths, and that heat map there you can see under his picture really kind of reflects the type of performance, which was difficult. It wasn't just isolated to him. Lacazette, however, came on in the last sort of 15 minutes or so and done just as well, if not better, very much linking up that transitional play between the midfield and the strikers, managing to register 2 key passes in just a very small amount of time and getting that vital goal right at the end, right at the death, so that we could snatch a point. I don't think we have many other players who can come on and have that impact. If Odegaard or Smith Rowe had started on the bench and come on, I don't know if he would have had the same impact or energy. Lacazette's obviously got a bit of a point to prove, as he's not featured too often recently for Arsenal and his contract's up at the end of the season. Should we play Lacazette more often, just behind Aubameyang? Should we keep him beyond this season? Let me know down in the comments below. I did want to touch on match stats very quickly, as I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, and it was a surprise that Arsenal had a total of 17 shots in the game. It didn't feel like that many, and it kind of looks like a positive and a negative. Arsenal creating the chances, with only 6 on target. The quality certainly isn't there. Bringing in the likes of Odegaard, Smith Rowe coming into the first team more frequently over the last 18 months, I thought that we might be able to create better chances. Is it the system that Arteta's playing, or is it the lack of confidence with people like Aubameyang and Pepe, for example, who were big goal threats last season? I think they were the top goal scorers at the club. Only other stats that stand out were the defensive stats for Crystal Palace. The duels won there, 54, 20 aerials, 22 tackles, 8 interceptions and 17 clearances. Vieira loved to tackle in his time, so it's no surprise that he set his team up like this. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Any other areas that we should be concerned with, or should we be working on? Up next, we have the average positioning of each player in their formations. Arsenal in the orange, Palace in the blue, heat maps underneath as well. Only surprises from an Arsenal point of view is there's quite a big gap between Gabriel and Ben White. I'm not sure if it's Arsenal trying to counter something, or maybe Crystal Palace trying to exploit something in Arsenal's back line. Ben White being quite close to Tomiyasu, who had a very average game. Maybe Ben White looking to protect Tomiyasu. Kieran Tierney did get quite high compared to previous weeks. Arsenal having a much more balanced side now. It's not something we've seen too often, but I would like to see more of it because he was a huge threat down that left last season, and we haven't really seen it too much this season. And he hit the bar yesterday, very close to actually grabbing himself a goal. Palace, on the other hand, having dominated long spells of the game, I was a little bit surprised at the congestion in the centre of the park. I was expecting their strikers and attacking players to be a little bit more advanced. If we'll have a look at the heat maps, Arsenal's deep red is out wide. We were playing, as I mentioned already, 1 or 2 passes before hitting the ball long, trying to hit those diagonals, trying to catch players like Saka, Kieran Tierney, Pepe even, and it just didn't work. And if we have a look at Palace's there, a lot of their deep red is in the centre of the park. When they dominated long spells, they were keeping hold of the ball, looking for those gaps, and their high pressure did pay off for the first goal, and their second was a bit more of a counter attack, which doesn't really reflect what you can see in the heat map. So let me know your thoughts. Is there something there that you've seen that I haven't? It'd be great to hear from you down below. A few hand-picked quotes from the post-match media duties of Arteta and Lacazette. And the first thing that is very clear to see is that Arteta isn't happy with the way the boys went about things after scoring the first goal. The quality in passing, the sequences wasn't quite right, and he felt like we decided to start defending something very, very early doors. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in training and behind closed doors for that matter. Lacazette, on the other hand, he was very, very positive. He was happy that he was able to come on with loads of energy and make an impact, and also happy with a point. Always better to grab a point than to lose a game. I know a lot of Arsenal fans will be frustrated that we haven't picked up 3 points now in a couple of games, but from the psychological point of view, the mentality of the players, not losing games and continuing that unbeaten run, even in an ugly fashion, is absolutely huge. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. I hope you have enjoyed today's video covering what Arteta got right, what he got wrong, and where we can improve. We've got a big game coming up against Aston Villa, and we need to start climbing that table. So drop a like if you have enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new around here, and if you want a shout out in a future video, all you need to do is predict the correct scoreline or any time goal scorer in a YouTube preview video or over on Twitter. And we've got 2 shout outs that we need to make today. To Big L over on Twitter, who correctly predicted a Lacazette goal, and what a vital goal it was, and Judge Dredge the Law, who said that Aubameyang would score. So if you want to feature in a future video, follow me on Twitter, comment down below in my preview videos. For now, I'm JC, and I'll catch you in the next one.